arm around the blue bundle and wedged it between himself and the rubber dinghy so the sea could not drag the baby away. And there he remained, rising and falling in the waves, with the baby's face a few centimeters away, staring at him with intense concentration. Every time the boy felt his fingers grow numb on the toggle, he swapped hands, and sometimes, when he thought that he could not hang on any longer and he should give himself and the baby up to the sea that seemed so desperately to crave their lives, he felt a shove from below and was pushed up a little and held above the water for a few seconds, and the baby looked even more surprised. It was as though the ocean floor rose to take the strain from his arms. How long they were out there, he had no idea. Sometimes he tried to play with the baby, popping his eyes and rubbing his nose against the baby's face, and the baby even managed to gurgle a laugh. The baby became his purpose, for he knew their fates were locked together. If he could keep the baby alive, God would allow him to survive too, and they would live long and happy lives, and maybe one day they would become friends. But he was very tired, and so cold that he could not think, and he allowed himself once or twice to close his eyes, just for a few seconds, and to dream of his home and his 3 sisters. And when he did, all sorts of strange things started to happen in his mind, and he began to believe that the sea was just part of a dream. And once, just before he heard the roar of the 2 jet skis come out of nowhere, he imagined a monster with an enormous beak rising out of the water beside him to search his face in wonderment, as if trying to fathom why there were so many bodies in the sea, and what a boy was doing floating there with the tiny baby. Chapter 1. Paul Samson leaned back in the desk chair used by his mother in the upstairs office of her restaurant, Cedar, and waited. Below him, Cedar's kitchens were at full tilt, producing food for the most privileged Arab customers in London. He was always content in this room, the place where his mother and father used to sit opposite each other at desks pushed together, she running the restaurant and he his import and export business. His gaze moved across a wall of photographs, his mother Marina's shrine to the family's early life in Lebanon, and more especially to his father Wally. His eyes came to rest on the black and white picture of them taken in Beirut in 1967. The photograph was famous in the diasporas of both their families, spread across the globe since the Lebanese Civil War, for its natural glamour and the memories it evoked of old Beirut. Marina, in a bold floral swing skirt, was on one foot as she hugged her new husband, who in a light suit and open collar leaned against a Buick sedan and, with cigar in his hand, saluted who knows what. The city, his new young wife, his good fortune. The photograph might easily have appeared in one of the fashion magazines of the time, and yet it was just a snap taken by one of the city's street photographers. Wally had paid a very few Lebanese pounds for the framed photograph to be delivered almost immediately to the cafe where they were celebrating their marriage. This was the only photographic record of their wedding, and there wasn't a day when his mother did not look up at it, smile and mouth an endearment to the long-dead love of her life. There was a knock on the door, and Ivan, one of the 2 maitre d's at Cedar, half opened it and showed his face. "He's here," he said. "I can see," said Samson, glancing at one of the CCTV monitors. "You need a table? It's pretty tight tonight, full house." "No. Show him up, and ask what he wants to drink. Thanks." Samson studied the screen. He saw a tall, dowdy individual with a brush of fine grey hair, dark rings under his eyes, and a stoop. A second, much younger man was waiting by the bar with his hands folded in front of him. Samson tracked the tall man on various screens as he climbed the staircase and proceeded along the corridor over Cedar's kitchens, where his mother, at the age of 72, was supervising her staff like a general. "Can we do something about your bodyguard, or whatever he is?" said Samson, as Ivan showed his guest in. "I don't want him spooking our customers."